We are seeing economic recovery. What the Biden administration isn't doing is selling that, and they can't.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. The leftist media really went out of their way to attempt to convince us that bad news is really good news this week because, we're under the Biden administration and things are just peachy if you ask them. At 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released a report showing that the Consumer Price Index skyrocketed to the biggest inflation surge in more than 30 years. But ABC, CBS, and NBC morning news shows, they didn't even mention it. They were busy. NBC in particular was busy giving us these wonderful insights.
You are a heartthrob on TikTok with straight men.
Yes. Oh, well, okay.
Apparently, it's like
that's going to get complicated.
It's a whole thing.
Yes.
About how just all men love you.
When when you come on the screen, they pause and they gawk a little bit. This is a whole situation. Did you know about this phenomenon?
I need to work on gay men.
Well, sure, that seems pretty important, huh? More important than high consumer prices strangling American families. I can see why they went with that instead. In fact, MSNBC actually tweeted this out this week. Now, don't look for it now as they decided to take it down, but the internet remembers these things. High prices for consumers. It's a good thing. Sure, absolutely. Take it away, MSNBC.
And it's unfortunate, but the Democrats don't do a great job telling their economic story. Yes, this inflation number is not a good one, but they've got a great economic story to tell.
Oh, it is an economic story to tell. Bare store shelves, rising food costs, rising fuel costs.
We are seeing economic recovery. What the Biden administration isn't doing is selling that, and they can't.
Or the media could just try to sell it for them. I mean, if you happen to be suffering from the spiking inflation, Univision offers some advice. Now, I honestly don't speak Spanish, but loosely translated, the audience is told basically to suck it up.
Otro ejemplo, el precio de la carne subió hasta un 30% desde que comenzó la pandemia. ¿Pero qué podemos hacer nosotros? Pues evitar gastos innecesarios, como por ejemplo, en lugar de comprar todos los días un café, hacerlo solo una vez a la semana y los demás días prepararlo en casa. Usar el transporte público para ir al trabajo o turnarse con algún amigo para manejar.
A cup of coffee in your family car? Those are luxuries that are used under other administrations. This is Joe Biden. It's public transportation on the economic freeway towards Venezuela's socialism. I mean, that seems to be the ultimate destination here. When the leftist networks weren't ignoring the bad economic news, they got busy ignoring something that they once used to love to cover. The latest details regarding Trump and Russia.
Special counsel John Durham's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe making its way into the Biden White House. Fox News can confirm White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is the foreign policy advisor mentioned in the indictment of Clinton campaign attorney Michael Sussman. Sussman was charged in September with lying to the FBI for failing to disclose his work for the Clinton campaign when he delivered information about alleged connections between Donald Trump and the Kremlin via a Russian bank. The information turned out to be false.
Fox News had the information, but when the news broke on Tuesday of more evidence blowing apart the Trump-Russia collusion narrative that was preached for years upon years, ABC's World News Tonight, CBS Evening News, and NBC Nightly News just didn't cover it. They used to give the latest gossipy details on that all the time. I'm surprised. Maybe they skipped their coffee for the Biden administration and they missed it. One thing the media hasn't missed is the debate over critical race theory. The left still claims that it's not being taught in schools, except they now want Democrats to promote elements of it being taught. Does that statement make absolutely no sense? Well,
Antonia, as we pointed out, CRT specifically might not be in the curriculum, but elements of it are going to pop up in discussions naturally about racism, diversity. Our kids have questions. Do Democrats need to make a better argument than just saying, this is a bunch of lies, there's nothing to see here? There is something to see, and it's something constructive.
Well, Steph, that is the major question right now.
It's not being taught, but we just have to support its teaching. That's a question right now. I'm not even sure they know what they're talking about.
How do you, in one breath, support aspects of critical race theory, but also make clear that it's not in schools and that kids aren't being exposed to or indoctrinated with this stuff?
You could always try to tell the truth, but then you'd have to admit that, oh, kids are being taught this stuff. Here we have it, straight from the Virginia Department of Education public school website. All they would have to do is some research, just like they do at Ancestry.com, which pays to support that MSNBC programming. Give them a call and let them know about the crap leftist lies that are in the DNA of MSNBC. How bad is that crap programming, you may ask? Well, we haven't showed you Joy Reid yet, have we? Joy Reid using the Kyle Rittenhouse trial in order to promote the teachings of CRT.
If you want to know why critical race theory exists, the actual law school theory that emphasizes that supposedly colorblind laws in America often still have racially discriminatory outcomes, then look no further than the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. Earlier today, the teenager accused of murdering 2 men and wounding a third in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year, took to the stand in his own defense. And the circumstances are almost built for an actual CRT course. I was having flashbacks to the George Zimmerman trial, right? I mean, everything from Kyle Rittenhouse using sort of cop speak about trying to stop the threat, saying this sort of really dramatic thing that the person he shot supposedly said that sounded like a gangster movie, you know, and then this whole thing of, you know, the whole breaking down and dry heaving in court. That was one thing that we didn't see from Zimmerman, but, you know, making himself the victim.
Joy, today the jurors saw what must be the greatest performance of Kyle Rittenhouse's life. He was well prepared by his defense attorneys to disrupt his image as a trigger-happy vigilante who went on a shooting rampage. This is white privilege on steroids.
So a white guy who shot some other white guys, that's about racism. It's amazing that if you actually watch the trial and then watch the leftist media coverage, you really do come away with 2 completely different takes.
What kind of idiot 17-year-old gets a giant gun and goes to a riot? He has no license, he has no training, he thinks he's going to scrub graffiti off.
Said the CNN talking head who lost his job at the New Yorker for masturbating on camera during a Zoom meeting. Because that's super intelligent. He should definitely be calling other people idiots. He's so smart, he knows when to keep those pants on. But these leftists always know better than everybody else, especially parents. They know what's best for your kids, especially those silly parents who don't want pornography in their schools. What is wrong with you?
All those parents worried about pornography in the literature. The kids ain't worried about pornography in literature. You better take your son's phone and take a look at what that bad boy is downloading. You better go to that school dance and see what they doing out behind the school, baby. Come on now. These parents acting like they weren't teenagers.
Hello. And they don't have their kids' passwords, so even if they got the phone, they couldn't see what's on it because they don't even know what their kids are watching on the phone. Hello.
They know what needs to be taught in the schools better than you do. They want CRT and pornography.
Hello.
Yeah, and they wonder why their ratings are tanking. I'm Eric Shiner for MRC-TV, asking you to visit the MRC Store, get some great holiday gifts for the conservative members of your family. Also, check out MRCTV.org for the latest video, news, and entertainment. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos on the social media platform of your choice. And we'll be back soon with more Media Madness.